Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. So today I'm going to be working on fiddlehead, Today I'm going to be working on fiddlehead scribes. Thing is, the steel I use for it is 3/16 square, and I ran a little bit low on it. So I'm going to be doing a little bit something different with my steel stock. Normally I will cut them down to 8 inches and just work from them at 8-inch pieces. Today, well, I'm going to be reworking a product that has become a little bit more of a hassle than what it's worth. So these are 4-foot long marshmallow roasters. I sold a couple of these and I only got 2 left now, and just shipping these is a pain and bringing them to shows is an equal pain. So this steel is, more important to me as scribes and cloak pins. So I'm gonna they have all twists through them and they have a little hook on the end or a loop on the end. So I'm gonna be straightening out these and cutting them down to the size I need for the scribes. And yeah, we'll make the scribes. So I already have a piece in the forge, which I'm going to just take out that first twist on the bottom first, and then I'm going to cut it to length. I'm just going to try and remember which way this twists so I can get it good. And I'm not worried about getting it perfect, because these guys do get some twist on them anyways. So I just want to get it as close as possible to straightened out. Yeah. So this is not something I usually do. Normally, if a product doesn't sell for me, I just give it away or, throw it in the scrap bin depending on what size. I do have some things that I'll sell 1 or 2 a year, but they're small, they're easy to carry, they're easy to pack up. So I'll keep those guys. But most of the time, it's kind of one of these things where if it doesn't sell, well, why isn't it selling? Is there, is it the pricing wrong? Is the market not there anymore? Or is it just too much of a hassle to deal with them? Like these guys, a lot of the times I try and reclaim whatever steel I can out of them. Some things, it's just scrap. I can't really justify spending the time to straighten out and really hammer out. Now this steel is pretty close to what it is naturally, because this thing only gets a couple twists here and there. So I'm willing to straighten this out. Also, this steel is, because it's the 3/16 square, it is a little bit more of a specialty steel for my supply guy. So it takes about a week to get in. So I need these scribes pretty quicker than that. So this is why I'm taking the time to actually straighten this out. And once I get enough straightened out so I can actually start cutting it to size, I will start doing that. So this is going to be a little bit of back and forth between making the scribes and straightening out the steel. It's not ideal, it's not what I usually do. But sometimes you just gotta kind of do what you have to do. So I have put a mark on my anvil already for 8 inches. So I'm just going to take my hammer, mark it a little bit, and then go on my hot cut to the size I need. And then this guy can go into the forge so I can start doing scribes. Double check that. Okay, yep. And I'm not cutting all the way through with the hot cut. I'm going most of the way through, and then I'm using my tongs to pry off that piece. So like I said, I just got a mark on my anvil. I'm using the corner of my shelf to knock a little bit so I can see where I need to cut. I'm going most of the way down. And then I'm just going to use my tongs to cut it off, to do it the rest of the way. Whoop. Now these first 2 scribes are going to be a little weird because the marshmallow stick already had a taper on the one end, and normally it wouldn't have a taper. So I'm going to start off first with straighten out anything I need to, just in case if it's still a little bit kinked. And then I'm going to actually start my fiddlehead. So I'm going to taper it down, but I'm going to keep it the same thickness on the other sides. Then I'm going to start curling it over. And this basically becomes like a jelly roll to get the look of a fiddlehead. I'm going to take another heat on that. And then this piece is the same as the first one I did, where it has a taper on the bottom. So I'm just going to start doing my taper on the other end so I can get that jelly roll fiddlehead going. I'm making sure I keep everything straight as I'm doing this. Okay, go another heat on that. Now we're going back to my marshmallow sticks. We're going to straighten the next twist out of it. Okay, now back to the scribes. These next two I'm working on are going to be ones that are very similar to how I would do it as a batch run, where they're not tapered on either side yet. So I'm going to start doing the jelly roll again, or the fiddlehead. Start doing the curl a bit. And I'm just curling it and then going around itself over and over again. Very similar to a jelly roll. And keeping everything, as I'm going, I'm trying to keep everything straight. If something starts going a little wonky, I'm going in and fixing that up before I go too far. This is one of the scribes again, and I'm going to be doing that fiddlehead on the front, or on the top. Basically, this is going to be a rinse and repeat for the day. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. I know a lot of people can't see this when I'm actually live. I do appreciate anyone that does come by afterwards and watches it. I know it's not the most convenient time for some people. That's why I started leaving them as public for you guys to watch them afterwards. So these are ready to get a couple more pieces cut off of them. So we're just going to continue doing the fiddle heads on them, on the ones I've already started. And normally I do about 2 rotations, a little bit more than 2 rotations on them. And then after I get the fiddle head how I want it, I kink it down. Just so it looks kind of like that. And then now, I'm going to put this guy to the side because I want to get all 4 of them to this point. Because the next I'm going to actually twist 3 twists on them. And they're going to be a waterfall twist. So what a waterfall twist is, you're going to twist it one way, and then at the bottom of that twist, you're going to twist it the opposite way. And it kind of, the 2 twists kind of goes into each other. This one has a little bit of a twist in it already, and I kind of just want to go and take that out because I don't want that mucking up my twist that I deliberately put in here. Okay. We'll put that aside for now. And this fiddlehead's almost done. Okay. Because I already have 4 irons in the fire, I'm just going to put these guys aside for now. The pieces I cut off, that is, I'm going to put aside. And we'll go back to them when my forge is getting empty. Okay, so I'm going to get ready to do the twist. And with these guys, I put the fiddlehead in to the forge and heat up that way. I'm going to move that camera over here so you can see the twist. And I just got a pail of water here too, because to get the waterfall twist, I do have to quench and cool down a section of the steel so I don't ruin the first twist. Okay, so on the first twist, I'm just going a little bit below the fiddlehead. And I'm going to grab roughly about 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to turn it counterclockwise. And then that's going to go back into the forge. And I'm going to repeat this on all 4 of these. So just a little bit above the fiddlehead. Now it doesn't matter if you start off clockwise or counterclockwise. You just want to remember which way you went and be consistent with all of them, because we will be changing what the rotation is on the next twist. Now I'm going back to the marshmallow stick and getting those twists out. Okay, now I'm going back to the scribes and I'm going to be doing my second twist. So what I'm going to do is quench the most of the first twist. And then I'm going to actually switch up what direction I do the next twitch. Twist. 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 And then it's going to go back in the forge with the fiddle head into the forge. And we're going to repeat that on all 4 scribes. And hopefully I remember which way I turned. And if it does get a little bit out of shape at this point, you can straighten it, but we're also going to be straightening it after the last twist. So it's not crucial to get it straightened now, but it does make it slightly easier. And when I finish the twist, I'm actually looking down here to make sure I'm aligned all the way up and down. Now I'm just going to cut off the next piece from the marshmallow stick. And I'm just going to put it to the side until I get these 4 done. Now we're going to go back to the scribes and do the last twist. Now these first 2 already has the tapered end because that's what was already on the marshmallow stick. And I'm going to turn this the same direction I did the first twist, which in my case was counterclockwise. Making sure everything is straight. And then normally what I would do is flip this around and put this back in the forge to do the taper, but because this already has the taper, I'm just going to straighten it up now on the vise, doing it on the corners of the square. And then that's the first one actually done. Now these guys get the wire wheel treatment and all that fun stuff. So and what I mean by wire wheel treatment and beeswax is just what it sounds like. I will hit these with a wire wheel to get it back down to bare steel, take all the scale off. I will then heat them up to a low temperature, basically the lowest temperature my oven will do, and put it into beeswax I already melted. And then once I got the beeswax on it, I will heat it up again at that low temperature and wipe off any excess beeswax that might be on it. Now these next two scribes are actually going to be ones that I'm going to have to do the taper on. So after doing this last twist, I'm going to flip it around into the forge so I can do the pointed tip. Sorry, I had a moment of which way to turn it. Okay. Flip you back over. So now with the marshmallow guys, still got a little bit of a twist on them. So I'm going to work on this, get the twist out of them. And then I can probably get a couple more pieces out of these guys. So I'm going to work that. So I wait for my two scribes that need the taper in to get a little warmed up. Okay, now going back to the scribes, I know I'm all over, I'm sorry. So back to the scribes, we're going to taper this on all four sides. So you're going to taper the square. Now I have a mark on the edge of my anvil with soapstone, which is 7 inches long. And that's the size I'm actually trying to get with these guys. So I will taper as much as I need to get that. Or at least close to that. And as I'm going, I'm just doing light taps to straighten if it gets a little bit way out of straightness. So I got a little bit more to go on this guy. So we'll get back in the forge. And I'll get this marshmallow stick a nub piece off of here. Now at this point, because it's getting so short, I'm going to flip it around so I can deal with this handle thing. Like I said, this is not typical of how I do these guys. It's just trying to reclaim steel where I can. Especially seeing that this particular size takes about a week to get in for me. So if I need the scribe, so we'll get do what we need to do. So again, I'm just stretching that taper a little bit more so I can hit my 7 inches that I like doing on these guys. And yeah, that's close. Now I'm going to go over to the vise on the corners of the square stock to straighten it up. Double check for square, nice and straight. And then that guy is ready for its wire wheel finish. So that guy's the length I want. I'm going back over to the vise on the corners and straighten it up. Taking it back on the anvil, doing any last straightening up I have to do. And yeah, that looks good. On the floor it goes. And while I'm straightening this out, I'm not hitting it hard. Just giving it light taps. Now this one, because I'm already holding my tongs, just gonna hold the piece down with my hammer. And then the piece I want, I'm gonna put that aside. And this guy, unfortunately, I think he's gonna be a little too small. Yep, he's a little too small. So he might go for a different project. So I'll put them back there so I don't mess them up with the rest of them. I'm probably going to have the same thing with this, where I'm going to get one piece off the end, and then after that, I'm going to probably have to take the other piece and put it aside because it might be a little too small. Yep. Okay. So I don't need my hot cut anymore, so that's going to go away. And we're going to start loading up the forge again with 4 pieces. 4 pieces? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 4 pieces. So I got another 8 pieces to work on, so I'll do 4 and 4. Clean my anvil, Don't need that mark anymore, so. Whew. Now this particular guy, because he already had a little taper on him with a curl, I can just go right in to doing my jelly roll for the fiddle head. Did a little kink on it. I'm going to put them aside so I can get the rest of them to that stage. So this guy doesn't have the taper, so I'm going to do a quick taper on him. And then start doing my jelly roll. Okay, and then I'm going to do a little kink underneath the fiddle head. Nice. Now this guy was already tapered with a little curl, so we'll go right into the fiddle head. And I'm not doing hard hits with this, and a lot of the times it's more glancing blows than anything. Like when you see me go up like that, it's actually more of a glance and blow on it than actually hit right on it. Now this one we'll have to do the taper. And then we'll start doing our fiddle head. Okay, now that we got all the fiddle heads in, we'll put the fiddle head into the forge and we'll start doing the twist. So I'll bring it back over to the anvil, the vise. Yeah, the vise. Bring it back over to the vise. And we'll start doing the twisting. Oh, get in there. I got a bad one. Doesn't want to go back in the forge. We'll get this twisted up and we'll straighten them out. That's one of the challenging parts sometimes when I'm doing batch runs is sometimes the steel falls out of the forge. Doesn't happen often, but you know, it's one of those things that you learn how to deal with or ignore sometimes. Now for the second twist, we're going to quench the first twist almost fully. Just going to leave like that last little run of the twist still hot. Clamp it in the vise, and then I'm going to rotate it the opposite way to get my waterfall twist on there. And then that goes back in the forge to get its last twist. Okay, now we're going to go and do the third and last twist on all of them. And we're going to flip it around in the forge. So this is actually a relatively small batch with only doing 12. These guys I normally will do somewhere in the 20 to sometimes 45 at a time. done with the vise, I'll bring you back over to the anvil. There we go. So these guys are going to get their taper, and then we're going to straighten them out. So it's going to be a taper on all 4 sides. And we're just going to leave it as a square taper. I'm going to check my size. Yeah, that looks good. Go over to the vise and do a little bit of straightening on them. Back to the anvil. If there's any other straightening that has to happen, just light taps. Now my anvil is not perfectly true, so sometimes it takes a little bit to know which way to hit it. But that guy is done. So throw him on the floor with his little buddies. We'll go on to the next one. And if you'll notice, I've actually heated this whole thing up. And that is just so I can do a good straightening on them after I get this taper done. Double check my size. Oh, need a little bit more length out of this. Yep, that looks good. Clean up that tip a little bit. Go over to the vise. And straighten it out. There we go. Now I'm sorry if the camera brightness and stuff is a little off today. I didn't get a chance to change anything, and it's a bright, beautiful day outside, which is unusual. The last week was kind of gray and miserable, so the camera might be a little off color and stuff. It's really hard to actually judge that without changing the settings every day. Okay, now we'll move on to the last 4 that we got. yeah. Sorry, I really don't have much else to talk about. I don't know what. Coffee break. I was hoping someone would be in chat and chatting up a little bit so I have something else to talk about, but chat is a little bit quiet today. Got it up to a nice 15 degrees in here right now, which is quite nice. Last week we were dealing with freezing temperatures, so it's quite nice that we're at 15 Celsius. Okay, now I got the fiddle heads done. Get those all back in the forge. Fiddle head in. So we can do the twist. Yeah. Oh, I should move you over for the twist, eh? Let's move you over. I don't know. Move you over? Yeah. Yeah. You've already seen the twist done twice. Oh, no, the first one we don't quench. Or we don't need to quench. Ooh. Sorry, this one has a little bit of a twist still at the bottom of it. It kind of threw me off for a second. It's one of the downsides of reusing steel. I try not to. For the most part, steel is actually the cheaper thing in my shop. Yeah, obviously, if you're getting into your expensive high carbon steels and specialty alloys, that's probably not the case. But like a lot of the stuff I bring in is mild steel. I will occasionally bring in stainless, which is expensive, and like 4140. So like 4140 is not really that bad price. Yes, it is more expensive than mild steel, but not terribly more. I know when you start bringing in the really specialty stuff that I don't even know the name for, then yeah, it gets a little bit expensive. So normally I don't go too crazy with reusing steel. It has its problems, especially when it's like already painted and stuff. This stuff was just linseed oil on it, so it's not too bad. And a lot of the times why I keep any used steel in this place is more for welding projects than anything. Like the majority of my press there, like the bottom of it, the table, that was actually all scrap metal steel that I used to make that. A lot of it is, by the time, like especially if it's painted, by the time you remove all the paint and stuff like that, you're better off just to buy new. Now, something like forklift tine, because it's already, if you have the means to actually cut it nicely, such as a bandsaw, that stuff is actually not too bad to get used because it's already a big chunk as it is. Most of the time the paint's already worn off of it. But because it's usually a big mass as it is, it's not too bad to take any paint that is still on there off. So forklift tines, yeah, they're fine. Okay, now we're going to finish off with doing the taper on the end. These are not the best tongs for this. These are just my flatbed tongs. And they do tend to not hold that good at this last stage. Maybe a future video, we'll be making tongs for the handle that handles this a little bit better. I'm just straightening it out. This one got a little bit extra twist in it somehow. So just taking a little bit of time to get that out. Yeah, that looks good. Nice. Again, I'm just checking to make sure I'm getting my length I need. So I like to have the final size 7 inches or thereabouts. I aim for about 1/4 inch play on either way. But I do like to get as close as possible. Okay, last one. Nice. where are we at time-wise? 2:40. Whoa. Well, before I shut down the forge, there's something I gotta prep for a future video. Got some old beat up files. What I'm gonna do with these guys is I'm gonna anneal them. So before I shut down the forge, I'm gonna throw them in, get them up to a nice orange heat. Shut down the forge, and hopefully they'll be nice and annealed for when I need them later this week. So, yeah, other than that, yeah. What's going to be tomorrow? We'll see. I got some ideas. It's Tuesday. Yeah. Huh. See if I can find one of the cooled ones. Should have probably sorted this a little better. Woohoo! There we go. Can we do a nice shot so I can? Oh, this camera doesn't like me. So I can do a nice thumbnail with this. Nice thumbnail. Oh, did it like that? Whoa. Yeah, I might make a nice thumbnail. Okay. Well, I'm gonna let those guys heat up, shut off the forge so they get annealed. If you guys are catching this later, because, well, no one caught it live, so catch it later. Thank you so much. And yeah, if you've made it to the end, I want to see how many people actually make it to the end. Put a comment below that you actually made it to the end. So that leaves me today. I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.